Okay, so here's 4 lobsters. We're going to cook them by boiling them in water in a large pot. And so that's the lobsters to start with. So now here's the pot. It's got water in it. A good amount, not too much, about 3 or 4 inches in there. And we're going to heat it up till it boils. So let's turn on the gas. Put on the hood. And then pop the lid on, and then we'll wait till that comes to a boil. Okay, we got the water on a boil, so we now put the lobsters in and just pop them straight in there like that, under here, and there. Just make sure they go right under the water. They have there, and then there, and then we put it on 10 minutes, and then we'll take the lobsters out at the 10-minute point after putting the top back on. Keep the heat up, keep it on a boil, and we'll be back in 10 minutes. Hi, we're a couple of minutes from the end. I took the cover off just to prevent it bubbling up inside and boiling over, because you've got to watch out for that with pans with tops on. So when you put those lobsters in, it's best to kind of wait a few minutes till it gets on a reboil and pop the lid off, just to make sure you don't boil it over. So here we are, we're going pretty well, and I've got the plate off there to the right to take the lobsters out. So about 1.5 minutes to go, and I'll be right back. Okay, time's up, so we'll shut off the timer. And the key thing, turning off the heat as well here, is when you lift the lobsters out, not to splash them back in the pot so that they'll splash you. So I kind of have a very large strainer here to grab hold of them and just bring them out, fish them out one by one. Either that, using another slotted spoon to hold them. So pop them out here. That's the next one. And the last one. Okay, and then I'm going to move them across to the other part of the kitchen where I'll show you them, and we'll do that in a second. Okay, so there's the 4 lobsters. As I said, boil them in a pot, 10 minutes, take them out, and they're pretty hot, but you can, grab them with a paper towel and just lift the head up. Lift that off. That's a way to cool them off, and do that for all 4. And then what I'm going to show you after these have cooled down is a really nice way to get the lobster tail out of that shell. A lot of people do it with a knife, but you can actually use a fork to just pluck it right out. So we'll come back and do that when they're cool. Here, just another trick that I just used. I popped on my oven gloves, and I used them to pick off the head, and even though it's very hot right now, you can do that to take apart the lobster if you like. Here, the claws, they pull right off, and there we are. So it's very easy, and it's another little trick. Okay, here are the 4 lobster tails that I pulled off and put on a separate plate. They're just a little bit too hot to comfortably hold just yet, so I'll come back in about 5 minutes and then show you how to remove the tails. Okay, so now I've got a large fork and a small fork. We'll see which one does better. But you basically pick this up, and then you pull the fork into the body like that, and then pop it right out, and there you are. That's what you do with all of them. So here you are. pick it up, the shell is right here, and you just put this right in there and pull it right out. We'll do it to all 4, just so you can see it's not a fluke. I'll throw the shell in the sink for the moment, and we'll do the last one. There we go. So that's the easiest way to do it. You don't have to use a knife to cut off. And here is the best part, the tomoli, which is well, it's not the best part. I like the tail myself, but it's really flavorful, and you can eat that together with a lobster or whatever you want to do. So that's the deal on lobster tails, and next we can get to see the heads. Okay, so here are the heads. I removed the claws from 3 of them, but just to show it's really easy, you just pluck the claws off like that, and you've got the heads now. Inside the head there's some more of the tomoli, so you can pull that out of there, and then you've got the body underneath there and the gills and stuff. But what I like to do is get the tomoli out, and we can, a lot of people don't like it. It's like people don't like liver and kidneys and stuff like that, but it's a very flavorful thing, so it's worth tasting at least if you don't like it. So it's a very tiny little bit. You sometimes get a lot more, sometimes a little, but that's enough. So they're the heads, and we'll come back and do more with the heads in a little bit. But let's go to the claws. Okay, so here you've got a whole bunch of claws. I'll put them on the big plate, and you can again dismantle these pretty well. Let me turn that timer off. And so, you know, they come apart pretty easily. Just and then you use the crackers to break them up. And sometimes the shell is quite soft and so on, so you can break them with your fingers. This one breaks out pretty well, and there you've got the nice delicious. And you've got various other little implements, little pokers and stuff that people have for try and get stuff out. Like here, you can use this to try and poke this right out of here, or not. It's fiddly stuff. But this is the claw meat. Eating that. And then the big claw, which is the reason they kind of have these things on, is so they won't grab your finger and smash it into pieces. But I've taken them off. Now here, you can see this. Now, these bits here are pretty tasteless, in my view. So you can take that off there and then eat this bit. Totally delicious. So that's the way you deal with the claws. And I'll come back to the heads in the next take. So now we've got the heads, and you can just pull the head right off like that. They all happen the same way. I kind of clean it up by pulling off this stuff. Well, there's a little bit more tomoli, so I'll put that over with the tails, and you pull that off there. And I just pull all the legs off just to clean it up like this. So they all come off pretty easily. The legs have meat in them, so you can cut them and use a rolling pin to kind of press that meat out. But that is so tedious. See, I just boil them up and make lobster bisque or something. But here you clean it. These are the gills. You kind of peel them off. You don't have to do this, but I just like to do it, so I'm working with something simple. And here we are. And you got that. So now you got this fairly simple thing here, and it's a matter of the meat is stuck inside these little cells. So you've got the meat in there. So you take that out. I use the lobster, so I serve the tails as a meal, but this stuff you need a lot of fingers, you know. It's very tasty meat, but it's in these little cells here, so the body has a lot. And you've got to put up its shell on occasion, but it opens out like this quite nicely, and it's just completely delicious. Best lobster in the world, I would say, in New England. Of course, from an environmental point of view, the waters where the lobsters are warming, and so where they used to catch lobsters in Long Island Sound, they don't anymore, because the temperature went up and stayed up and the lobsters died. So global warming is reducing lobster range, or killing lobster industries in parts of the United States. Okay, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. I did. And now I've got the rest of the lobster to tuck into. So thanks for watching.